Welcome to Two Fools Podcast. This is Drew.
And I'm Random's Sane Guy.
Are you ready?
Are you a jackass?
Are you ready?
The motorcycle guy?
No. Are you ready for Freddy? Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the final chapter, coming to a PC near you, October 31st. Are you ready?
I think I need an adult.
There are none here.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, no adults here.
Am I ready for Freddy? The only Freddy I would ever be ready for would be Freddy Krueger.
Or Mercury, if he were still alive. Maybe.
Ha-ha! If you got ready for Freddie Mercury, I think that's going to involve some sweet, sweet loving, and I'm just not playing for that team. I'll buy the CD. I'm just not playing for the team.
What if there were a lot of money involved?
We'd have to be talking about a lot of money.
And we're already tangenting.
How Dave the Head is Dave the Whore. Yes.
But yes, just this past Monday, Scott Cawthon put out a teaser for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now, again, some people might be like, oh yeah, it's a teaser, what are you talking about? Well, you're starting to see an interesting dichotomy come up where it looks like some people are hopping off the hype train. In that, well, if you watched a few people like Markiplier and a few other Let's Players, they and other fans were of the opinion that 3 wrapped up the story decently without giving everything away. And, there was no need for any more games.
Well, having never played any of them, or even watching all of the Let's Plays through, I don't know. I can understand what you're saying about the hype thing.
Well, again, some people are jumping off the hype train, and I can understand that. I mean, if you're getting burnt out, you're getting burnt out. There's nothing you can do about that.
Especially if you weren't that invested in it to begin with.
Yeah. Well, if you weren't a fan to begin with and you've just been on the haterade the whole time.
Well, no. I mean, I saw this, all my friends have been talking about it, I tried it out, it was really awesome, and then I tried the second one, and it was okay, and yeah, I could see the fourth one coming out, if it wasn't your thing, you were just joining in so you knew what everybody else was talking about, I can understand that, but...
And then there are others...
I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, then there were others like, oh, now it feels like he's just doing it for the money. I'm like, what the fuck?
Why else would you make it?
Why else would you... Well, again, some people are like, oh, because you enjoy it. Yeah, he enjoys it, but you're stupid if you make a game, if you're good at something and you don't make money off of it.
If you're good at something, don't do it.
Do it for free. Ancient Chinese secret.
Told to us by Joker.
Whatever. But again, and that was kind of my thing. I wanted to get, because on my Facebook, one person on there was like, oh, now it just feels like he's doing it for the cash money, and I want to go, and?
Well, I
mean, you can call me a soulless capitalist there. If I was making buku bucks, I wouldn't want it to end.
Well, there's a lot of room between one side of the end zone of soulless capitalist and the other side of the end zone of I'm doing it for the love of it. There's a lot of room in the middle there.
Well, yeah, but again, that's a weird thing that seems to happen, especially with games and other things. As soon as you make money off of it, you're a sellout, and, people are like, oh, you're just doing it for the money, and I'm like, well, what do you expect him to do? Be homeless and still try to make this shit?
I don't know. I'm sure that there's somebody out there making video games and working at McDonald's, but it doesn't seem to be like a conducive idea to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, if you're doing it because you like making games, but you know you're not making money off of it, that's one thing. But if you find a niche and that niche takes off, wouldn't you go full force after that niche as long as you could?
Yeah, I think you're kind of missing the point that I agree with you.
Well, yeah, but it's also a bit of conversation in that just, I guess some people just don't understand. If, again, let's say I made a game here and it got popular. At this point, I like making games, but I would still want to make money.
I mean, yeah, you gotta eat, you gotta pay your electricity.
The bills, so.
Right. I guess one thing that...
It's just one thing that always kind of...
I don't know the Scott... What's his name?
Cawthon.
I would think that if he is making a lot of money on these, one thing he might want to do is take the resources he's making from these Freddy games, or Five Nights, whatever you want to call them, and go make something new and use that to, I don't know, start a third-party development group or something.
He might,
Publishing was what I guess
he
you should have said.
might not be into that. He might want to be a lone gun maker. And
Maybe number 4 is his retirement plan.
I don't know. It seemed because he's had a number of games before this, but they didn't get popular.
Right. I knew he had made some of those Bible games.
Yeah. And, those got ridiculed and they weren't popular and things like that. And it seems like Five Nights at Freddy's was his revenge for all the naysayers. But
Well, the other thing is to remember that just because something's popular or hyped up a bit doesn't necessarily mean that it's a high-selling game. John Madden comes out, his football game sells, what, $6 million a year?
Something like that. Well, let's put it this way. It's apparently selling pretty good because he just donated $250,000 to the Hopkins Children's Hospital or St. Jude or something like that.
Both of those sounds relevant.
But he just donated a chunk of money to a children's hospital, so apparently he's been making some money off this stuff.
Right.
So it's popular. But again, I guess I had to bring that up because that's one thing that just always irks me is whenever you see...
It's called haters.
I know, but it's the most...
You have success, you son of a bitch!
It's the most illogical form of... Well, it's not even that they hate the people. They just are like, you shouldn't do it for the money. And I'm like, that makes no sense. You would do the same thing if you were in that situation.
It always confuses me when people say things like, oh, we're true fans of the Star Wars saga, and that's why we don't like the prequels. It ruins the vision of the first one.
Same guy made the other ones.
Exactly. It's like this was his vision all along. In fact, he went back and re-edited the originals anyways when technology caught up to him.
Again, I don't go, I'm a true fan of the saga. I just think the prequels suck. But Again, that's an opinion. I'm not going, well, I'm the true, I'm not being hoity-toity about it. I liked the originals. I didn't so much like the prequels.
There's things I like and dislike about both sets of them. But I see it as one long story that just got made out of order.
Apparently.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm kind of looking forward to number 7 coming out.
Well, it's no longer his story anymore. It's going to be... whoever the writer in charge is now.
I think George Lucas still has, a very large outline that he has created long time ago.
Again, I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure on that. I think he sold that off and said, I'm done.
Maybe.
After the wave of hate he got from the prequels, I think he just decided he's done.
Well, it cracks me up. And if you're listening to this is directed to you, directly to you. Do something else. If you don't like it, do better. You can't? You didn't? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh. So, Five Nights at Freddy's 4. We're going to pull the train back onto the tracks again.
Hold on, I want to stay on the Star Wars for one moment. My
Okay.
favorite was the one guy who complained about seeing, oh man, I hated Phantom Menace. Really? How many times did you see it? 13 times? And you couldn't have hated it that much.
I saw it too.
I've seen it more than twice, but I've only seen it, I saw it twice in the theater. Once when it came out, and once 2 months after when it went to one of the second-run theaters and you could get in for $1.
Mm-hmm. Well, to get this back on...
Five Nights at Freddy.
Five Nights at Freddy's 4. One of the more interesting things on this is going to be the longest turnaround time Scott has had with one of these games.
Okay.
Because Five Nights at Freddy's 1 came out August 2014. Number 2 came out November 2014. He took December off to spend with his family. And 3 came out March 2015. So now he announced just this past Monday, so May,
7 months.
July. Well, if you don't count April, but May, June, July, August, 6 months if you don't count April. But
Why would I not count April?
because it's pretty much over.
Well, yeah, but from the time that the other one was made.
I guess, but yeah. So
It's
this
6
is
months from now.
at minimum a 6-month development time. So that tells me either A, he's upgrading the graphics engine because that takes a while, or B, this is going to be his big bang, that he is taking the series out on a big note.
Well, I think there's a C. Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, and 3 could have all been created at pretty much one time. Because he already had a storyline in mind.
Well, the same story, I think, is still going to apply at 4.
Maybe he's having to rewrite and recreate everything new for this one. Maybe he had no intention of doing it originally.
From things, just looking around and looking at some different things, he has been dropping hints ever since 3 came out that he never stopped working on 4. You know, he never came right out and said it, but there's lines like, I've been very busy, you know, I've been working on a project, you know, not wanting to drop what it actually was, but so it seems like he's just been in full development mode.
Who knows, maybe he's going to try to create it in a totally different way.
It could be he's rewriting the engine, like I said, the graphics engine or the game engine, and that can take a while. Or again, this is going to be the big story bang, and he's going to send the series out with flair. And he wants to make sure he gets everything right.
Or maybe fire. Burn the whole store down.
He did that at the end of 3.
He burned the store down?
Well, he burned down Fazbear's Fright, which was the horror attraction made out of the remnants of Five Nights at Freddy's. And, see, that was the thing is, there were people going, hey, I think this is a good stopping point, there shouldn't be any more. But there was always that, because it was found real quick and in a hurry, there was a teaser at the end. It comes up at the end, it shows you a newspaper clip saying it burns and saying that the thing had burnt down. If you lightened up the picture, in the background on the paper, you could see the animatronic from 3 just staring at you, pretty much saying it survived the fire. So,
yeah, well, metal's funny that way.
So yeah, there was always kind of a hint that either A, this wasn't done, or B, it's just going to be the biggest cliffhanger tease ever.
I think we need more squirrel farming sim games.
So we're just going to go off on that now.
No, I just felt like saying something randomly stupid.
Dance!
That's right. I don't have a dog in the fight.
Well, let's put it this way. Do you at least enjoy like watching some of the Let's Plays, or do you not really care at all?
I enjoyed it when it was new. Like when you showed me the first one. Yeah. That was interesting, and I enjoyed the game theories and learning the story and the concepts. Not only the stories that had been published, but the stories that people are imagining based on it. Number 2 came out. I did not watch it as much as the first one, and I haven't seen really anything of number 3.
Okay. Again, I keep it up because I want to know the story.
Right. And you find Markiplier amusing.
Well, yeah, and I find Markiplier funny. And so, you know, anything that makes me laugh, I'm going to watch it. And I watch more Markiplier than just his Five Nights at Freddy's stuff.
I like Markiplier like alcohol in small doses.
Oh, well. To me, he's better than PewDiePie, but nonetheless.
Well, I don't watch that. I don't know. When your 14-year-old daughter is a fan of him, and you watch him, and he's acting like a goofy man-child, I didn't invest.
Just a random thing I ran across on the internet, and I enjoyed it, so I kept it. Markiplier.
Yeah, okay.
I kept the channel in my subscription box. But with the new game coming out, and again, I like this more for patching together the story than anything else. Watching Let's Plays of it. I haven't really played the games myself, and some people might say, oh, you need to play the games, and
Well, let's apply this to other very popular internet-based games like Isaac.
Binding of Isaac?
Yeah, I mean, you think that'll get a follow-up?
I don't know. I mean, I think it will. 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 I mean, I think it will.
a Binding of Isaac 2 or something. I know they kind of recreated it with the Rebirth.
There's what do you call it? An expansion that has been slated.
Yeah.
For Rebirth. That Edmund McMillan did say, I'm making an expansion, and he opened his forum saying, what do you want to see in the expansion? And got people to tell him what they wanted. So, yeah, they're going to do an expansion. I don't know if they're going to do another full-on game remake after this. Because, to tell you the truth, Edmund McMillan's one of those guys that's like, okay, I'm done, moving on to something else.
Well, I know a lot of people are big Steam players, but I can't afford Steam, so I play on Congregate. Mm-hmm. And it's a mixed bag. I mean...
Is it kind of like what Newgrounds used to be back in the day?
Yeah. Only it's only about games. There's no... The other side of the coin is that Congregate... I don't really know what kind of rules and regulations they carry, but I do know that they have some things that have microtransactions in them. I know it's also a lot of times you'll see a testing for app phone-based games. That's something. I've seen games on Congregate that ended up on Facebook. So I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoyed the puzzle games and stuff like that.
Okay. Well,
idle games have become very popular for some real weird reason.
I don't understand those, but... Well, I understand the psychology behind it, but it just doesn't... It just doesn't help. I just... I'm kind of like, that still seems boring to me. I understand the psychology behind it, but...
I'm okay with an idle game if it gives you something to do when you're online. And then when you log out, it's continuing to do something. I don't mind. It's to me, I like the ones that are like management-based games where you're... create strategies and stuff, and then you log back in and see how it worked.
And we gotta tote this this cart back on the track again.
Well, I mean, what else needs to be said about Five Nights at Freddy 4?
Well, with 4, it's more wondering what will we see in this game. Is he gonna continue on like because the main thing we're seeing right now is just one teaser photo of it, and I'll bring it up and let you look at it.
Well, I mean, it's either going to be exactly more of the same that made it popular, or, in my opinion, I would assume it's going to go...
That would be the teaser picture right there.
The other aspect is it goes exactly opposite of what it's been. So it's either going to be a bucket load more of resource management plus jump scares, because that's really what Five Nights at Freddy's is.
Yeah.
Or it's going to deviate from that kind of build and do something totally different.
I wouldn't think he would scrap the mechanics.
No.
Well, let's put it this way. If he was going to scrap the mechanics, he would have done it earlier, and there would have been a precedent for changing the mechanics.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't foresee it changing too much.
I don't see him scrapping the mechanics, but I guess it's more what people are going to wonder about is what are we going to see story-wise? Because, and this is a bit of spoilers if you haven't seen 3 or played it or whatever, so if you don't want to be spoiled, leave now, come back in about 10 minutes, or skip 10 minutes.
Or come back in 6 months when the game's out.
So, yeah, or something to that nature, but... In number 3, it is revealed that within Springtrap is an actual person.
Right.
That has been dead for a long time.
Right, I remember that in one of the game theories.
Yeah, and it turns out it is the purple guy.
Right.
So, or it is a purple guy. Seeing as how the model for the purple guy seems to change here and there, depending where you see it. We're still not sure if there was just one or multiple purple guys.
Okay.
But the purple guy gets chased by the ghost of the kids he kills. At least that's what it shows in the minigame.
In the third game.
Yeah, there's mini games that you play in the third game.
Sure. I remember seeing some of them.
And the final one is you're playing one of the ghosts of the dead children, and he finds the purple guy, and the purple guy's trying to get away, and he can't. So he runs and gets into the Springtrap suit. Well, as we had talked before in one of our other Five Nights at Freddy's things, we had heard that whole don't breathe on the spring locks, don't look at them wrong, or they might let loose and smash, and that happens. So
yeah, I remember, because lockout tagout comes to mind every time
Yeah.
people talk about these spring-loaded suits, and I'm like, you couldn't pay me enough to stand in the middle of something that could squish me.
Well, luckily these never really existed.
Right.
Again, that is Scott taking some liberties with
sure.
technology and things like that.
I mean, that's some 1915 exploitation of workers right there. Everyone work at the sewing machine while the doors are chained shut.
And so we find out that Springtrap is haunted by the spirit of Purple Guy.
You know, the one thing I never understood about this is if all these kids' spirits are haunting these animatronics, why are they mad at the guy in the security booth?
Well, again, there can be arguments. If you ever listen to people that talk about hauntings and things like that, there are things that are intelligent hauntings and things that are not. Supposedly, there's really no proof in the world about whether or not hauntings exist.
Okay.
But if it happens to be more of a haunting that isn't intelligent, it's just kind of...
Raging out against all living things?
Yeah, going with the flow and it's just angry, then it's just finding a human and making it pay.
Okay.
And that might... Again...
But he only made $120.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is that really what he made?
The first game, yes.
I remembered something relevant.
And again, then there's that whole argument whether or not the first game is real or not, but we'll whether or not the first game is not Mike Schmidt's just lit in his mind.
Right. I remember what you're talking about now.
So that's debatable if
Don't
those
the
are
sequence
even...
of the games in chronological order technically go 2, 1, 3?
Yes, it goes 2, 1, 3. And so again, it could be thought...
I just solved the reason why this guy keeps coming back every night.
Okay.
1915 business practices. He has to. He's chained to it.
That's one long chain.
He's got a camper out in the driveway. He gets this.
No, that's not creepy at all. At the back of a kid's pizzeria, just some random camper.
RV. I worked at a factory once, and we worked 12-hour days.
Yeah.
And we would work 2 or 3 days straight, and then have 2 or 3 days off. And there was a guy there who worked so often on his off days, and he actually drove to the site on an RV and would camp out in the RV for about 4 days straight while he worked. So, I mean, realistically, it happens.
Well, yes, but I would think the company
Yes,
would...
at the end, back at the Showbiz Pizza, that would be kind of creepy.
Yeah, I think the company would frown upon that. They would more tell him to go park in the Holiday Inn next door's parking lot or something to that nature.
Just run the extension cord and the toiletry hose. I don't know. I've never been in an RV. I don't know how they wire up.
Yeah, it would just be a basic extension cord, and you would find a place to put... Well, you don't have to actually dump the sewage until the tank gets full. So.
Maybe that's what you got to do in Five Nights at Freddy.
What?
You got to balance your bladder between the shit. It's like, oh crap, I'm scared. I got to run to the bathroom.
We always have
the thing's gonna eat me.
We always have that giant big gulp, but we never have to go to the bathroom. So
6 hours later. Well, if you haven't pissed yourself after all this shit, nothing can stop you.
Oh, so he's Marty.
I'm just saying, 42 things trying to eat you in 6 hours. You and John Rambo need to have a team up.
But that can be some of the argument whether or not some of this is actual ghosts. Because what?
Rambo, I seen things, man. I seen things no grown man should see. I seen a chicken eat the face off of a child. It was ridiculous.
And now Dave's throwing in for Chica is the reason for the bite of 87.
Oh, really? I wasn't, but we'll go with that.
We'll go with that. It'll start conversations.
I seen things, man. I seen a balloon kid.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God, is right. He brings animatronics to life, and they... I
think you're confusing Balloon Boy with the marionette.
I don't care. I just seen things, man. You got your Nam, that's fine.
This is my Nam.
I seen 42 kids want a slice of cake from a cake that only serves 8. I seen moms with a 100-yard stare. I seen little kids get lost in the ball pit, never to come back out. Then I seen that one poor high school girl had to go in there and hose out the urine from the ball pit. She was never the same.
Before the whole urine from the ball pit, that almost sounded like a Twilight Zone episode. Kid goes in ball pit, never comes back.
He got sent to the cornfield.
No.
No. I mean, I appreciate your banjo, but it was a little dude in Twilight Zone. He was like, "You better be good to me, or I'll send you to the cornfield."
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I was making the reference from the Johnny Bravo remake of that episode.
Yeah,
where he sent him to the cornfield. It went.
I think Twilight Zone is random enough for people to either A, get it or not.
Don't need to add Johnny Bravo.
I'm just saying, a reference to a reference.
But it was
It's
funny,
like referenceception.
Because then he came back in going, "What kind of weird freaker?" Poof.
Hey, I don't like that little kid. Hey, pretty mama, you can babysit your own little bastard. How awesome would it have been if he'd have finally said that to somebody? Look, you need to chill out. Don't make me pop a fresh one in you.
Well, he couldn't because he was on the Cartoon Network. But
he could now. Oh. Let's get Johnny Bravo on Adult Swim. Hey there, pretty mama. You want to go back to my house for a little bit of pinch and tickle?
Wow. My childhoods.
Aren't there internet rules for that?
Which rule are we talking
No! See, a vague reference is funny. You start pointing them out, it gets creepy.
But you could kind of make the argument whether or not the number one has ghost in it at all, because the whole whether or not it's in his head or not.
Oh no! After 2 and 3, I'm already buying. Everything's haunted.
Okay, haunted. Go.
Yep.
Everything's haunted.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The game theory that he's mental,
yeah,
and this is all his own personal hell he's created while he's rotting in jail. That's a great story.
Though I do have to say, I feel bad for Matt Pat. He keeps making these videos to figure it out.
Wait,
Scott keeps making more.
Wait, don't feel bad for Matt Pat.
He's making
money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, it has to drive him nuts, because just like last Sunday...
He's a scientist.
I know, but just last Sunday, he dropped here's Five Nights at Freddy's Explained Part 1, and we watched it last Sunday, and you could tell he's going all out, and he's ready to do this, and then Monday comes, and Scott crapped all over that.
How funny would it be if that guy, Scott, is aware of the other game theory thing doing it?
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Waited for that to happen.
I'm sure he is. Scott seems to be a world-class troll. He seems to be able to sit there and go, these people expect this? Here you go!
Again, Matt Pat has said many times mathematician and scientific theory. Well, the most basic scientific theory is trial and error.
It is. But again, I just imagine Matt Pat just sitting there going like, "Yeah, I made this. We're going to start doing this." And then next day, son of a...
I bet he wasn't stressed at all. He was like, guess we're going to have Five Nights at Freddy, The Final Revelation Part 3 down the road. Sip my latte.
Well, actually, I did kind of look on his Twitter to see if he reacted to Matt Pat's Twitter. He reacted with "Freddy is life, Freddy is love." And that was it.
His wife needs to hit him with something heavy and in the back of the head.
And then Markiplier's reaction was, "I must be taking crazy pills."
Yeah, we already knew that one.
So, again,
for your little picture there, it's kind of creepy. What's he holding in his hand?
His top hat. It's all disheveled and broken, and again, that's kind of one of the big things that's going around the internet right now of, who is this?
Dude, what if he's not in the pizzeria?
Well, see, that's another thing. They're like, well, is this after 3, or is this somewhere else in the timeline? Are we dealing with a pizzeria?
Okay.
Was something
check
sold
it out.
off?
Five Nights at Freddy 4, first-person shooter. He gets out of the pizzeria and starts throwing his hat against every little person he sees. And I don't mean little people as in kids. I mean every human breathing thing. Just choom, choom, choom. Then he's got to go, to the junkyard and rescue Bonnie. And, it crosses over the Five Nights at Freddy with the Five Nights at Fuck Boys.
I was going to say, you're giving Five Nights at Fuck Boys some storyline here.
There you go.
But, And that's what's going on. They're trying to figure out, so what's going on here? Because so far as we knew, Purple Guy was in Springtrap. This is not Springtrap.
Springtrap
is the Golden Bonnie suit
Okay.
thing. This is not Springtrap.
Right.
What they're debating is that there were two of those Springlock suits. A Bonnie suit and a Freddy suit.
Yeah, but that was a Golden Freddy, wasn't it?
Yes. Again, we're not sure about this.
That one looks pretty brown. And standing up.
It looks pretty brown, but there's also something that
Well, it's got its eyeballs, so that means it has its endoskeleton inside of it.
Yeah, but again, one of the things people are pointing out is if you and you would have to compare pictures, but the head of this Freddy is much more angular.
Like the gold one?
Well, it's much more angular like Springtrap.
Oh.
So they're thinking that this might be the Freddy spring suit. Again,
with its spring suit intact.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Springtrap's was intact too. It just had a human in it as well.
Well, no. I remember somebody saying that the Golden Freddy had the
suit ripped out.
Yeah, the animatronics was pulled out of
that, and there's still a debate whether or not there were multiple Golden Freddy suits or whatnot.
Well, see, that's what cracks me up is, okay, so Five Nights at Freddy's #2 takes place in this little pizza joint. That's kind of like a mom and pop pizza joint. And then, hold on, let me get through it and then you can correct me when I'm wrong. Five Nights at Freddy 1 is like, I've sold the mom and pop's pizza store, and now it's a chain, and this shit's happening again. Right?
Five Nights 2 is actually during the chain years.
Oh.
We never see the mom and pop.
Okay.
Five Nights 2 is, again, to explain it, the first one was called Fredbear's Diner. It does mention Fredbear's Diner in #2.
Okay.
Because the phone guy goes, oh, we're trying to reach out to the former owner. I think it was called Fredbear's Diner. Or something like that. So he name drops it, but we never see it. And we don't know what exactly went on there. But it went from a mom and pop store and got sold off. Some are thinking because of bad things happening.
Right.
And got sold off and became Fazbear's Pizza.
Right.
And Fazbear's Pizza had their first
store.
And then bad things happened there.
But they still somehow became a franchise.
Yes, somehow. Or maybe, that first store was going, they started to franchise a bit, and then bad things happen.
Okay.
And that causes things to go downhill for a bit. They lose money.
And then #3 takes place years later when it's all been shut down and now it's become a horror-themed event.
Well, to continue on, then we get to #2, where I guess they went out and got another investor or more loans or whatever and completely revamped the thing into a big old...
Oh, that's why the ones look like toys now?
Yes.
Okay.
They revamped it, made it big, shiny, and new. Bad things happen again, which causes them to lose budget and lower down to Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
Right.
And then after that, 3 takes place 30 years on in the future where there's no pizzerias. Most people think it's an urban legend that didn't even exist.
Alligators in the sewers and bears eating people at pizzerias.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, see, looking at that picture...
And this guy is very sharp.
Well, looking at that picture and remembering a lot of the things that I saw in the different Let's Plays, who's to say this isn't a total different bear? Because you got to realize something. When you have a franchise...
Yeah.
Anything within your franchise can be shipped to another of your franchise if you own it. Mm-hmm. For example, I worked at a Hardee's, a fast food restaurant that's franchised. But
Carl's Jr. other places.
Sure. But even if you worked at a McDonald's, this analogy will work well. Usually, when someone owns a McDonald's, they usually own 6 of them, 8 of them, all in the same. We'll call it. Let's go with the area code for phones. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The upstate where we live in South Carolina, we were one of like 22 Hardee's. Mm-hmm. It wasn't anything for a Hardee's in a busier section to come and pick up supplies from us, and transfer it through the computer system. The transfer for the computer took less than 5 minutes. The person driving and getting it, depending on how far away they were. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How do you know one of the haunted suits didn't get sent to another Fazbear and the shit just started all over again somewhere else?
It could have, but...
But wait a minute. And you end up with all kinds of different haunted suits. Multiple Freddys, multiple Bonnies, and etc.
And at one time, that was a theory that maybe they pulled parts from older haunted suits and put them into different new things, and that caused the haunting to spread. But again, until this game comes out, we won't know for sure.
Has he got teeth on him?
He's got teeth here.
No,
and,
on his suit.
Yeah, well, this is a small Freddy head, small Freddy head, small Freddy head.
Oh, okay.
That have his same sharp teeth.
I just see the mouths. I don't see the faces.
It's kind of dark. If we brightened up this image, there's actually a message right here that says "Nightmare."
Really?
Yeah.
This motherfucker's trying to give people psychotic effects, or psychotic attacks, aren't they?
He might, but he's doing a good... Hey, it sells his game.
I was about to say, maybe he's got a cousin or something who's in pharmaceuticals.
But it sells his game, and so he's making money. But it's just...
Get your tinfoil hat on, kids.
That's why you need the tinfoil.
That's right.
Protect yourself from Scott Cawthon.
And the subliminal messages of eat more fruits and vegetables.
But yeah, this guy is looking rough and very sharp. If you notice the spikes at the end,
yeah,
of
his little
fingers.
metal fingers are coming out of the suit.
Yeah, well, if you had a animatronics, you would think you would never want it to have spikes.
You might want to link this picture when we post the podcast. That way, people can go to it too.
I might just take a copy of the picture and make this as the picture.
That's a good idea.
For the podcast.
Or for the video part when we put it on YouTube.
And so people can look at it.
That's a very good idea.
And get their own feeling for it.
I'm totally going to say I had that idea.
Dave takes the idea.
That's right. I'm so clever. Look at me.
So it's just... if nothing else, this keeps the hype train rolling until he can put the game out. So you could say it's a good marketing ploy, if nothing else. And this actually didn't... Well, correction. This actually didn't show up on Monday.
Right.
Because what happened was, after Five Nights at Freddy's 3 came out, this picture changed from what was there to Freddy's top hat with a spotlight shining on it.
Okay.
And a lot of people thought, oh, it's the end. That means we're done, Yeah. No more Freddy. Well, Monday, that changed to the top hat's gone. Spotlight's still there, top hat's gone.
Okay.
And then the next day, this guy showed up.
These people put way more effort in it than I would.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm always a little bit behind on this because I don't sit here and monitor Scott's website day in and day out. I'm not that big a fan, but...
I think it's funny that you're probably more of a fan than some people who actually play the damn thing.
I enjoy the story. I love the story. I think it's...
I think the story is intelligently written and very, very creepy. Enjoyment, I don't know. See, that's the thing is, I don't take enjoyment on what feels negative to me. Does that make sense?
Well, you also gotta understand, one of my favorite things to watch are procedurals.
Right,
Crime procedurals.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And medical procedures like House.
Yeah. I love that stuff. And so, I get to be my own procedural detective here. Sure. So, that's why I love it so.
And I'm the guy who's like walking down the hall going, no, we don't need to check for traps.
No. You just have the really dumb barbarian standing there and you take out a gold coin and wing it down the hall and have him chase it.
But I'm the dumb no.
If there are traps.
Ooh, coins!
If there are traps, he'll set it off.
And
we actually did that in the campaigns.
I'm sitting here thinking I like fire, but I don't want to see a house on fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just enjoy that, and I understand it's fake.
I get that too.
There might be some reality into it.
That inspired the beginning.
Every good story has a tint of reality to it, but
like that research that Game Theory found on the murders and
so
was it Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, it was a Chuck E. Cheese. Well, Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz were the same company technically.
Were they really? I know it's the same concept.
Well, what had happened, Howard Bushnell made Chuck E. Cheese out in California.
Right.
And if you don't know who Howard Bushnell is, he's the creator of Atari. He got bought out, went on to make Chuck E. Cheese.
Right.
Chuck E. Cheese got real popular. He started spreading more and more...
East.
Eastern, and he couldn't manage it all. So he contacted another company, I think in Kansas City. Don't ask me which state, seeing as how we have Missouri and Kansas City. But he contacted a company to help him build out.
I believe Kansas City is in Kansas.
There's also Kansas City, Missouri, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they kind of share the border.
Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying, because it started on one state and kind of
went over to the other.
Right.
Yeah. And so he contacted the company and said, hey, help me spread east. They came under the contract. After like a month or so, they got in really big arguments with Howard Bushnell about, how he was doing things, and split off and made Showbiz. And they took the East, he took the West. Business. They both overspread way too much.
Yeah, oversaturation.
Oversaturation, that and the home console market started getting better and better. So they started dying. Howard's died first, and Showbiz bought Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, but Chuck E. Cheese still exists.
Because Showbiz thought Chuck E. Cheese was the better mascot. So they did what was called...
a merger?
Well, not a merger. They bought out the company and did what was called... It was like product samification or something like that, where they had made sure everything was a Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Brand simplification or something, whatever
Sure,
it was called. And so that's how Showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese became one whole company. And to tell you the truth, with Scott, since he's in the eastern Texas area, he probably knows Showbiz more than Chuck E. Cheese. But
I remember going to a Showbiz for my sister's birthday. And
we had one in Greenville.
Yeah. That's the one we went to. And, yeah, it was okay.
I liked it as a kid.
I enjoyed the arcade. I didn't,
I liked it as a kid. I've never been afraid of animatronics, so I was like, yay, he is a dumb kid. But
I think I was old enough to realize there was a dude in a suit, you know what I mean? And just played along for the little kids.
Oh, the one out in the arcade, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about the actual stage show.
I don't remember.
But, well, welcome to one of my things is I don't forget much. So.
Right.
But, so, it's mainly we're just going to sit here, ride this hype train. There's going to be so many theories to keep people satiated until the time it comes out.
I think that's funny. I think I'm more entertained by the secondary market of Five Nights at Freddy than I am by the primary market.
It is interesting, though. There are times where I'll be listening to a theory and I'm kind of like, no, that don't make sense.
That was like I said before to Kayla when she was watching some of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Only one person knows the truth, and he ain't saying anything.
Well, this might be his final thing to say it with. So,
well, what's your final thing to say?
My final thing to say is what I want out of this is why.
Why what?
Why did all this bad stuff happen?
Oh, squirrels.
Squirrels
got in the animatronics. They're not really haunted.
Foamy the squirrel?
No, not Foamy the squirrel. Different product.
But that's mainly what I want out of this. If not coming out and telling us, at least giving you enough of the puzzle to where you can go, okay, this is what happened. Because, again, there are still points where you could go, was Purple Guy a serial killer? Or was it because the company was treating its employees bad that he just had a very bad day?
Well, a couple of years back, a guy went down to an elementary school with a rifle and started shooting at the children and the teachers. And I believe a parent was on site and took him down, wrestled him to the ground and stuff. And when he got arrested, it was explaining, he was frustrated and stuff like that. And I've had a bad day, but, I've never wanted to murder anybody from it.
Yeah, well,
especially someone not even related to what gave me the bad day.
Well, some people aren't as grounded as others and become unhinged.
I'm just saying, I had a bad day, I had ice cream. If the bad day really gets bad enough that I want to murder somebody, I want to murder the person who gave me the bad day.
But you have no underlying psychoses or anything.
The squirrels are out to get me, Drew.
You're making that up.
I am. Because the squirrels told me to.
Because that is usually where you're going to get that kind of shooting of, I had a bad day, let me go shoot something up. You have underlying mental problems.
I get that. But even saying that, my brain just goes 1 plus that don't make any damn sense.
Again, it's some kind of mental problem that hasn't been treated, and they refuse. Not again. One part is we're really bad about treating mental problems. Number two, people with mental problems are really bad about seeking help, and staying on their medicine.
I know that one. Hey, I've been taking my medicine. I feel better. I don't need my medicine. No, you need your medicine to continue feeling better.
But good luck getting them to figure that one out. But that is all I want, really. I just want to know the why. And maybe the who. Of course, seeing as how the only...
Well, out of context, what would it matter?
Yeah, it might not matter, but again, it's one of those things, you want the end of the mystery. You want it... And some people might say, well, 3 ended the mystery. It's like, well, no, 3 told me what Springtrap was. It didn't tell me why the kids were killed.
The guy in the purple suit is William McMasters.
Okay, at least I know his name now.
Okay.
Well, that, and it's also kind of to see...
McStabbington.
Well, that, and also, because one of the major theories is Phone Guy's purple guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That Phone Guy is the killer, and he's been able to keep plying his trade, as it were, on through the years, and the kids finally get revenge in the first game. Because he dies on night 4. Supposedly.
Unless he's just some clever bastard
who
recorded sounds of him getting murdered, but really escaped, and...
that's going a bit too far, I think.
And then... Ooh, maybe in Five Nights at Freddy 4, you get to be Freddy and you finally get to capture the guy and origami him into a brand new hat.
But we shall see coming October.
I like that it's coming out on Halloween. I do think that's kind of funny.
And Halloween's on a Saturday this year.
So everybody can binge like crazy on the weekend and play it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. There's going to be streams aplenty.
I was about to say, we can watch the YouTube explode with it.
I was going to say, hey, Dave, we could buy one and stream it, and we could scream like little girls.
Go right ahead.
Dave's like, I'm not participating.
Horror film's not my thing.
But
you want to buy
if it makes you the YouTube money,
I was about to say, hey, if
like
you want to buy the damn game and we'll sit in here and make fun of it, or make fun of each other, whatever.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But that's all I want out of it is just the last pieces of the puzzle.
Sure.
If Scott does that, I'll be happy.
Or maybe he'll give you just enough puzzles to be ready for number 5.
Oh! And I'm kind of like, well, it says final chapter, but then somebody in the comments of one of the pages did make a good point. I was like, well, I've watched Friday the 13th series and did learn that the final chapter was not the final chapter.
If there's one thing I ever learned from Freddy Krueger, is you're never safe.
So, I believe that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up here. This is Drew.
I'm Dave the Head.
And have a good night. Watch out for Freddy.